So today, as I've mentioned before, these are not actually trainings as such. This is really just a practice group where you can share ideas, explore, be curious, ask questions, try things out. There's no right or wrong here. It really is just a practice group, and everyone's here for lots of different reasons. We have some people here, very blessed to have them here. People like Emma and Trish, who largely see clients online. We have the fantastic Michael Watson from the US here, who has for many, many, many years run online trainings around online training. So the fact that we have someone of his caliber here is just wonderful to be able to hear what questions people might have. So hopefully everyone gets something out of it today. As I mentioned before, I'm kind of pushing my own comfort zone with this today because usually I do one-on-one or small group kind of catch-ups, but to have something where there's potentially going to be, at the moment there's 22 participants. It may grow larger than that. And I'm hoping, as I mentioned, that my technology allows me to keep up. I'm hoping that my cats don't suddenly start fighting or knock over the green screen behind me or anything along those lines. So if that does happen, please excuse me for the moment. However, this is a great example of what really might happen when you're seeing clients as well. And so that's part of what the discussion is today, is really about what do you perceive as being the challenges that you might have, and from the wealth of knowledge we have in the room, what kind of things you might do to be able to get over that. And time permitting later on, we might be able to do a bit of a break up into practice groups around things like inductions or something like that for those that feel that they may not know what it feels like to be able to do hypnosis online and to kind of get a bit of an experience with that. So firstly, as I mentioned before, and yes, I'm just doing a quick checklist here before we get into discussion. It is Emma's birthday today, so happy birthday to Emma. The fact that she's joining us on her morning is wonderful. But the first thing I want to have a look at, of course, is the equipment and the software that you need today. So I will unmute everyone. And thanks for taking that photo, Emma. I will unmute everyone so that if anyone has any questions, please ask. If you don't have any questions, mute yourself again. But, let's have a bit of a chat about what kind of equipment and software you might need. So has anyone got any questions about this so far in terms of what they need in order to be able to do successful online sessions? Yeah. I always fear that tumbleweed. So what's that, Julia?
No, I was thinking it's not the equipment, it's more of a noise thing, but I'll wait until you get to that.
Okay, and that's just reminded me, Julia, happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you.
So all these birthdays that are happening here at the moment. Out of curiosity, what have people got as a setup for their online sessions? I'm using a PC here. I've obviously got a green screen behind me, or else my wallpaper is extremely dynamic and exciting. I'm currently going...
I'm starting from scratch. I have nothing, and I don't know if I can get anything.
In what way do you mean you don't know if you can get anything, Jackie? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I was speaking to someone. I was thinking I would have to get a PC, or a laptop or something, because I'm just using my iPad. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, it's not that great. But I've heard that they're difficult to come by.
What's difficult to come by? What do you mean by that?
Well, I was just that someone I spoke to said they'd tried to get tried to purchase a computer and couldn't get one.
Oh, as in right at this moment, computers are hard to come by.
Yeah. And the equipment at this moment,
I know that I've had a few discussions with people who've been trying to get a Logitech camera as well, particularly the one I'm using today, the C922. And they have been, Michael's giving the thumbs up there. They have been sold out almost everywhere or on exorbitant large prices.
You can actually still get them. I've just put the link in the chat at ubgames.com. You can order it online and they will deliver it within a few days.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for that, Trish.
Nobody knows tech like us gamers, babe. Simple as that. You want to know? We can tell you.
And are they very expensive at the moment?
Currently they're about 170, so they have come down in price. You could also use the C9270 as well. It's not as good, but it's still pretty well up there.
Just a reminder, if you're not talking, to turn off your microphone, or else I'll have to mute everyone again, but that makes it a bit harder to be able to do that. So, cool. In terms of, like, I mean, I guess going to some of the experts in the room, like Trish and Michael and Emma, what's the bare necessities that people need in order to be able to do online sessions successfully, in your opinion, anyway?
Can I say something? For one, you don't need a PC. You don't need fancy stuff. You need a phone.
Just your phone.
You need data.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You just need, what you need to do is you need to set it up for success. So it's pre-framing your client. With technology, to be honest, it's gonna cut out sometimes. The dog's gonna bark. The cat's gonna jump on the lap. You just deal with all of that beforehand. To be honest, working online for your client in hypnotherapy is actually easier than seeing them in-house, because your client is already anchored to being comfortable on a certain chair in their own home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So all you really need is headphones. These are my headphones that I've got with a little thing in here. I think I got these from Officeworks for $28. Don't let big amounts of money or technology get in your way. You just don't need it. In Kmart, we have these little headphones and things you can attach to your phone for $10.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my dog.
No. and I've just muted Carolyn because it was her dog, I suspect. Sorry, Carolyn.
And also with backgrounds, you don't need a fancy background like Lawrence has got, but I do suggest, see this, Trish.
See?
We tell our clients, even if you get some nice wallpaper and put it back there and no one knows it's wallpaper, or wrapping paper to make something look pretty there.
All right, I'll just show you this for a second, if that's okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's, yeah. It's all a mask, isn't it, really?
All a mask.
Yeah.
This is a room divider.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have anything, or if you are perhaps in your kitchen or something along those lines, you can just have a room divider behind you. You can go for that Zen sensation. Just to advance on Emma talking about the headphones, yes, it's absolutely amazing to do it on your phone, but I do recommend when it comes to your microphone, and if you want real submersion, so if you want to get those binaural beats going or those solfeggio beats going as well, I highly recommend submersion. So get that really good microphone, and that way when your client has their headset, they will drop down really, really quick and really, really fast with those binaural beats going in. So you don't need a lot of fancy equipment, I completely agree. But when you come across those analytical or those difficult clients, the submersion really does come into play.
I could see Michael nodding his head there in agreement. And, you know, given that you're here from the US, I feel like we need to tap into your knowledge as well. What's your thoughts on this, Michael?
Well, we're idiots over here, so I don't know why you're talking. But, you know, I've got to say, and I hope you don't mind the levity, but when she was talking about the headphones, is that, you know, I live in Orlando, so we are surrounded by images of Mickey Mouse everywhere. So anything that looks too close to this, I just refuse to do. But here's the thing that's so beautiful about this. If you look around the room and you can see the faces of the various other people that are on this call,
mm-hmm.
The fact that you are on this call and you are hearing me, and those of you who have spoken have been able to be heard by everybody, we should reassure you that already right now you have everything that you need. It's great to embellish it with some good things, but you're actually doing it successfully at this moment. And when Lawrence was talking about, he said he was pushing his comfort zone here tonight. I think, you know, we're kind of in this situation where maybe what we need to do is to push our comfort zone a little bit. What I'm in the middle of now is we're putting the entire IACS convention online on Zoom, and it came up overnight, and I'm coordinating 54 speakers and all of this incredible stuff. and I am way outside of my comfort zone. But it's what's called for in the situation. And I do this every couple of months. I run a class called the Virtual Hypnotist, and I train people how to use Zoom and how to do it online. And it's been it's been really kind of a great thing. We just started a class, however, on Tuesday night, and this time it was all very different, because now it was because of the coronavirus. We've got to get it online, and we've got to be, there's an urgency that never seemed to be there before. So I know, so Lawrence, I know that really isn't a virtual background, that you are actually broadcasting from inside of a champagne glass or something. and it's absolutely lovely. And none of that is necessary to get started. So if the first issue is, step number one in any process is start, so get started with what you've got. And I think, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm losing track of who said what already, but what I know is, yes, you can do this on your telephone. And Jackie seems to be worried about whether she could get a computer. I'm like, she's on the call, and I could do a session with her, or she with me, if it came down to it and we really needed to do that. So there's two different modes. I mean, one of them is, how do you put up the slickest, coolest online practice that you possibly can? And that's a great discussion for any time of, any year, any time outside of the plague season, and the other is, what do we do right now in this situation to be able to accommodate it as quickly as possible? I don't really know what the deal is down there with you guys, because, we're on lockdown. We really are not supposed to be going anywhere. And it's really kind of freaky. When I started that class last night, I realized everything was different, and the whole audience had a very different agenda and set of concerns. But you guys, seriously, you got. I'm looking at every one of you. I can see your faces. I could do hypnosis with you, and I could do that quite comfortably, and that's just really great to know. Now, some of you are hiding yourself. You don't have your cameras on, or whatever it is. I know that might be because here in the States, people say it's because they're watching us.
How can we turn the camera on? Because I can see, I've just got a photo of me.
Who is it that's saying that?
You can see, it's black and white with my dog.
Okay, is that you, Janine? Right? Janie,
yeah.
So, sorry, Michael, go for it.
Yeah, so Janie, down in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, do you see a little camera icon there?
No, I can see a record. There's just a record thing, like it's red and it says rec.
Okay, yeah. What I'm seeing is that your camera is muted, and it may be that it's not present. You can do, Lawrence.
I did do a Zoom Feldenkrais class the other day, and it worked fine. And I just kind of, because I logged on really quickly now, that I just.
If I do ask to start video.
Into your computer.
Oh, okay. So I'll do okay. Yep.
There you are.
Okay. Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hi.
There we go.
So there you go. Another practitioner online.
Yeah.
That's great. So, anyway, that's really all I really wanted to say at the moment. I've got plenty of things to talk about, but I think I kind of learned something. If life isn't absolutely thrilling you all the time, maybe it's time to lower your standards a little bit. and what I mean is, in this situation, I think the first job is to what's the best that we can do in the set of circumstances that we're in, and then we can start figuring out how can we dress it up and light it up, and and make it something that's really fancy to continue long after this is all over. But you've got what you need.
Thank you for that, Michael, because I can see a lot of people nodding and smiling and really getting something out of what you just said then. Jackie, do you mind if I come back to you? Because, Michael just very accurately said, we can see you, we can hear you. You're capable of doing sessions. Now, if you don't mind me asking you, what is it that you feel is preventing you right now from doing a session? What's the belief or thought you might have that's stopping you from doing that?
See how you can see me quite right on the screen? Mm-hmm. I'm on my iPad, but maybe my phone would work better. So I might practice with my phone and see if that works better. See, I'm off on the corner. I'm trying to move it so I'm in the middle so someone can actually see me, but I'm not sure where the camera is on my, how to get that aligned. So,
So
there we go. Now I've got my iPad way off to the right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to set it up so I'm looking out the corner of my eye at someone.
And it's funny because once you stop moving, I can hear you a lot better as well. It was a little bit patchy there, thing. So, you know,
well,
we can see.
Outside, so yeah.
Yeah. But do you feel that you could do a session right now with someone if a client approached you and said, let's do a session?
I'd probably be way out of my comfort zone, but I'd probably give it a go.
So what is it that would prevent you from doing that right now? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer. Like, I know I'm putting you in on the spot here.
Probably my concern would be that I wouldn't be able to actually see them very well either. My screen is quite small. I'm on my iPad, so it's a bit bigger. But if I went on my phone, I'm not sure how would they be doing it on their phone, or, you know, would I be actually able to see them very well?
This is the thing, is that they might be on a computer on the other side, or they might be on a phone, they might be on various different devices there. So it really is, it's really about, we can't be sure what device they're going to be watching or engaging with you on either.
So how important is it for them to actually see us?
Can I step in? Is that okay?
Yeah, please do. So,
Jackie, at the end of the day, you do not need to be able to see your client. Your client just needs to be able to hear you. Okay. And it doesn't. So if I look at my camera now, I'm not actually looking at the screen. And at the end of the day, when it comes to being online, you can't look directly at your client anyway. Okay. So it doesn't matter. As long as your client can hear everything that you're saying and they are completely safe, your session will be successful with them.
So then how do I know what's happening with the client?
Talk to them. Ask them.
Listen.
Okay.
Create your suggestions beforehand. You will not fall off your chair. Please allow all your pets out of your room. Any sounds that you hear, you can just eliminate. Focus on the sound of my voice. Just keep focusing on the sound of my voice. Use your tone, your most powerful tool in hypnosis. Okay? You have all the tools right now to go out there and help someone, darling.
So I don't actually need to see what they're...
No, just ask them, are they sitting down? Are they safe? Ask them, okay? I've done many sessions where people don't have a webcam of some sort and they're on their PC, or they've been on their phone, but their camera on their phone is actually smashed.
Wow, okay.
So as long as they can hear you, you are all good to go, okay, Dar?
Right, okay, yeah.
Well, I did a session on Thursday where the client couldn't have his camera going because his internet dropped out, and so we just did it by audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And it worked perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's put me at ease a lot. Thank you.
Good. That's the purpose of these groups, is to help people get over what they think is holding them back.
Can I be the devil's advocate for a minute?
Please do.
Because if you're doing it by audio, I mean, that's great, but you may as well just do it by phone if that's the case, and you're going to have a much more reliable, connection. Because we can pretty much, I hope that's true for you guys. You can count on the phone company, But I don't mean to be disagreeable. I think it really depends on one's personal style. For me, it's really important for me to be able to see my client. It's ultimately important for me to be able to see my client.
I completely agree, Michael. I am a visual connector, so I like to be able to see my client. I also use my whiteboard a lot in sessions, and I also see CBTs as well. Yeah. So because I am visual.
But maybe let Michael finish off his bit first. We can come back to you, Trish. Yeah.
And it's fine. However we do it. We've all got our own things. But for me, I'm always responding to any kind of visual changes that I'm seeing as they're occurring. So I really hope that I can get them, and I'm aiming for that. But I don't seem to have any trouble. First of all, I don't know if your mileage is different, but I don't seem to have any trouble connecting with people on Zoom. And I've been running my practice. Literally, last month I saw one client in my office, and everybody else, and I'm a really busy guy. Was online. I've developed it that way, and I've actually been working online for almost 10 years now. So now, of course, since Zoom, God bless Zoom, that has I think made this so much easier for me. But I wonder, Lawrence, at some point, you know, I'm afraid that, as I mentioned to you, I've got a limited amount of time, but
Yep.
tonight. But at some point, when it's convenient to your program, I'd love to be able to show somebody kind of something that I do in terms of inductions online, and on the call.
Absolutely. Look, given that you have a limited amount of time, if you care to show us now, that'd be wonderful.
Oh, that would be great. So, so first of all, of the folks that are out here, oh, it's cool. I'm not recording this. I can go in gallery mode. By the way, here's another thing for those of you, whether you record your calls or not. If you're doing meetings online or something, you want the recording to have the speaker be the primary, face on the screen, and so we end up recording in active speaker mode. But the best of all possible worlds when you're a speaker is to be able to go in gallery mode, because you can see people responding to you rather than watching yourself talk the whole time. That's very, very helpful. So now I can see all of y'all, which is great, or most of all of y'all. So I'm wondering who would be interested in having a little trance experience. It's only going to last for a couple of minutes, just a short thing.
Right.
I'm seeing Jan Davidson, and I think, and a few people raised their hand, but I'm seeing Jan. Here's what I would recommend for the rest of you to do while I'm doing this demonstration, is that if you can find the little picture of Jan that's somewhere on your screen and double click it, it will open the screen up, so she will be the big picture, and you'll actually be able to see her, because that's where all the action is going to be. I'm just the voice in the background. So if you'll do that, you can see Jan, and you can see what happens. And what do I need to do? I need to. I'm so used to being in this other mode. I've just lost her. Hold on. I know you're there, Jan. There you are. Okay, great. All right. So Jan, you've been in hypnosis before, I suspect. Oh, by the way, your microphone. There you go. Oh, it's blocked again. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I think I can hear you now.
Good.
So I was saying you've done hypnosis before, and I imagine, is that true?
Yes.
And you have an interest in experience, just a pleasant little trance right now. Would that be okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. And by the way, there are all kinds of ways to do inductions, and I'm just demonstrating this for the benefit of showing you something that's really, I think, easy to do online. And we could. Some people might even. Well, there are different ways that people talk about trance and their experience. I don't know whether you like the word hypnosis better, or whether you like the word trance better, or whether you'd like to just think about it. You don't even need to use the word hypnosis at all. Sometimes you can tell people that this is just an opportunity to go inside and to open up a part of your mind to more wisdom and more understanding. And that's something that would be interesting. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to just get comfortable in the chair in whatever way it is that you do that naturally. And I want you to just check for something, to just pay attention to how you feel, and to consider that on the scale of 1 to 10, that if 1 represented as uptight and tense as you could possibly be, that, like really uncomfortably uptight and, tensed up, and 10 would represent just the deepest level of comfort that you could experience. Just sort of check and notice where it is that you are right now on that scale.
About a 3.
About a 3. Okay, now 1 is really tense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a long way away from really relaxed. Is that true? Okay, and so you've identified this experience that you're having as 3. Would you like to discover just how you could turn that 3 into a 4 or a 5 or maybe even a 6, for instance?
Yes, please.
Then do this for me. Just take a gentle breath and let your eyes close. And just take a minute, Jan, to notice how your body feels. And to notice that feeling, that level of comfort, is something that you described a minute ago as being a 3 on a scale of 10. So this is what a 3 feels like. And you've indicated that you'd be interested in discovering how to turn that 3 into a 4, 5, or a 6. So I want you to begin to make that discovery, to start to find out for you just what would be involved in turning that 3 into something that was a little more comfortable. Now, there are a lot of ways that people think about this, and you can explore and discover what's just right for you. It may require you to adjust your position a little bit, or maybe not. Some people will say that it has something to do with the way that you hold your muscles. And some people would say that it has something to do with the breathing. And still others, that's right, might tell you that it has something to do with the stillness that you can experience between one thought and the next one. So I wonder now, if you've experienced a 4 yet, you can just go ahead and nod your head a little bit to let us know. Notice what changes as a 3 becomes a 4, and let that happen. And just give me a nod when you found it. There you go. And you notice that you've just changed a 3 into a 4. And that means that you could do just a little bit more of that, couldn't you? And you could allow that 4 to become a 5, and go ahead and do that now. Because I want you to know, Jan, that you can make those changes just a little bit at a time, a little more comfortable. That's right. That's right. A little more relaxed, doing just what you need to do. And as you're going a little deeper, a little farther into this experience, there are so many things that I could share with you. If there was something particularly important, for instance, for you to deal with, we might talk about that a little bit. But for now, the important thing is just to really discover how a 3 can become a 4, can become a 5, and so on. And isn't it nice to know that you have that ability, and that you've had that ability all along? And so whenever we connect online like this, for example, you can just sit down in the chair and begin to make those adjustments all by yourself. I don't need to touch you. You don't need to be in the same room with me, because we're together in a different way. And it's really nice to have a connection like this one at a time like this. So just notice your experience for another moment or so, and I want you to realize that in a minute it's going to be time for you to bring your attention back out here. And because you discovered how to make a 3 into a 4 and into a 5, you really have the ability to make all kinds of changes for yourself. So you might begin to discover just what it takes now for you to gently and easily begin to let yourself just rise back up to the surface of wakeful awareness and come all the way back out here and join us in the room at a rate that's just right for you. There you are. How was that for you? It's comfortable?
Much better, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. That was fantastic.
Well, okay. So
yeah, I could see applauding going on there as well from Sarah. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. Now let's see. I've got to figure out how to get back so that I can see the rest of y'all. Cool. Yeah, so that's it. And the only reason I just like to show you that one is that I'm just absolutely amazed by the fact that trance is a natural phenomenon. You know, that by the way, and I got to tell you, if you've never seen this before, Jan is a little exceptional, because most people, and it surprises me every time, But most people start out and they say, well, I'm at a 7. Already they're like, and I'm saying, and isn't that fascinating? Just close your eyes and look and notice what it's like in there to be at a 7. And would you like to find out how to take that further? But you don't have to spin their head around. You don't have to poke them in the third eye. You don't need to do any of those things. You don't need to drop their arms. You just need to turn them over to their own resources and guide them through the process. So that's one. I mean, there are many standard inductions that are more, again, whatever your style is, I have all the respect in the world for that. But I really love that particular one.
And given that I know that your time is limited with us today, just to make sure we get it in, if people wish to get in touch with you and to do some training with you, how can they do that?
Well, I guess right now I've got so much stuff going on. It's amazing, but I'm not really promoting any particular thing at the moment. But if you just drop me a note at FL Hypno, I'm in Florida and I do hypnosis. So if you can remember FL Hypno at outlook.com. Any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer them. And if you want to, be on my list for when there's stuff coming up, you can just let me know that way. So FLYPNO at outlook.com.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Trish got applause as well. Thanks for that, Trish. One thing I do need to come back to, because Sarah's mentioned, sent me a message for saying, hey, Lawrence, before you go into equipment, please get participants to make themselves aware of their insurance company's policy of working online. Also to follow guidelines of their association for legal and ethical requirements. She's very kindly come and say, legal and ethically, if a session is recorded, it needs to be kept secure for 7 years. Also, confidentiality needs to be stated at the beginning of the session. Also, a client's signature for, again, legal and ethical. Out of curiosity, so how do you do a signature online?
Hi, Lawrence, everybody. I get them to email me through. So I send the intake form and get it emailed back. So I've got a signature there.
Right.
Legally and ethically, you need to get a signature agreement. It's the same as a face-to-face session. You need that for your association, for your insurance. Everything needs to be legal and ethical.
And I remember having a quick word with you over breakfast at HypnoBiz. What were you saying about insurance policies and how they can work online as well? Because I remember asking you what is the Fenton Stevens one there?
You need to be in touch with your insurance company. The AACHP, we are with the Insurance Made Easy, I think. And we've just contacted them and they've just given us guidelines of what to do. And if you're with the AACHP, you would have had a email come around just on Friday, giving you guidelines of what to do. But what they said at Insurance Made Easy is to ring your client afterwards to make sure everything's okay with them. That were their guidelines.
Right. Okay.
And if you're working with people overseas, they will not cover anybody. If you're working with someone in America or Canada, that's a standard with all the insurance companies.
So in that instance, then, does that mean that we are unable to see people in the US or Canada? I mean, what would be the general guidelines there?
Insurance people, that's what the insurance states.
Fair enough. Okay. It's good to know these things.
Your own insurance company to make sure you are covered to actually do online sessions.
Right. So I to be fair, I don't know if I've seen anything come through from the AHA regarding insurance. It might be worth following up.
A policy online. If you want to go and have a look in their resources online, the AHA has something online. And the HCA, Hypnotherapy Council Australia, will be bringing something out next week with guidelines.
Great. Okay. So it sounds like a lot of these organizations are getting behind it and determining the way forward for that. So I guess it's just a case of us looking at and seeing over the coming few days and weeks as to what they're saying around that as well.
Just follow the guidelines, be legal and ethical with it all. You belong to an association. As a clinical hypnotherapist, you should belong to an association and you have the backing of the association. But if you're not legal and ethical, then who knows what can happen. So just be aware.
Yeah, I'm really actually glad that you've raised this because I think insurance is probably not something that many people may have thought about in moving forward to this. So I think it's great that this topic has been raised as something to consider as well.
And
Do you
confidential.
need to have any sort of disclaimer, get them to sign any sort of disclaimer that if anything might happen, they have a heart attack or in the session
That's standard. That's standard on your
Mm.
Is
call.
that?
That's standard in your confidentiality. That's standard.
Oh,
with
okay, yeah,
the session with.
okay, yeah,
That's a standard thing.
right, yeah.
Carla has just said, or you can get an insurance broker to help find the best. I work globally and needed a tailor-made insurance. A broker could really sniff out the best for you. Thank you for that, Carla. I appreciate that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please do.
I've just got Fiverr to turn my client questionnaire face to face and added things in terms and conditions, and they did it for $8.70, a fillable form PDF.
Fantastic.
You can also, I know Trish is also a big advocate for Acuity. It's an online scheduler, but you can also do your intake forms on that as well. And it's all part of the monthly subscription.
So in regards to your client questionnaire that you send to them, what is it that you need to put into it about having a heart attack? I haven't got that. Never have.
Well, you'd have your terms and conditions on your website. All websites should have a terms and conditions and a privacy policy anyway.
Yeah.
So you would have a reference back to your terms and conditions asking if they have read your terms and conditions and agreed to it. And that would be a tick box within your intake form.
Okay, do you need to put it in your intake form that if they have a heart attack or something happens that I take no responsibility?
I don't know the answer to that. I've not particularly known hypnotherapy to cause heart attacks as a common thing anyway.
No,
but
cover.
Yeah.
Just for cover.
Whether you say as a broader, larger scheme of medical health or anything after that, I imagine that's what the insurance is actually for, isn't it?
Okay.
To protect against those sort of instances.
Yeah, I was just talking about the client questionnaire and your terms and conditions on that. I have it all over my website.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to put that in your client questionnaire, no?
Well, I could see Sarah saying no. I personally just have a little tick box down the bottom saying I've read the terms and conditions and agreed to it and have a link to it. But you'd also do confidentiality at the start and all that sort of stuff anyway.
I've got that.
In theory, you should be running a session online exactly the same way you'd run it if that person was in the room with you anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're cutting corners simply because it's online. They're not in the room with you. So.
And I have another question. I now know what we need, which I've got here. But regards to the client, what do they need? Do they need to have a headset or is earphones okay?
Before we get back to that, just to your question, Carla's just also said for online signing, you can use DocuSign, which is DocuSign.com. I actually use that company in another business of mine, and they are really good. So I agree with you there, Carla. Sorry, Jen, what was your question again?
In regards to, like, we all know now what we need to set ourselves up, but what about the actual client themselves? Can they just use earphones? Because I don't know how long people are going to be able to buy headsets or headphones with everything closing soon.
It really depends on how they're engaging in a session with you. If they're sitting in front of a computer or desktop at home, they might be able to just have their sound up depending on if they're in private or not. They might be wearing headphones like I've got on now, which are, cheapy ones that you get from the supermarket. Well, used to be able to get from the supermarket. I haven't been to the supermarket in a couple of weeks and I don't know what state they're in at the moment. But realistically, everyone's going to engage in your session in a different way. And I think as long as you perhaps start your session by ensuring that they can hear you and see you comfortably, then that might be the best way to go. But I don't know if anyone else has any opinions or thoughts on that.
Hi, can I put my 2 bucks worth in?
Go for it, Emma.
Thank you, Jen. I see most of my clients online for hypnotherapy because it's easier for me. I have clients all over the world, and it's however you pre-frame it. So for me, pre-framing is everything. So if they have, I will tell them a week beforehand. Right now, because we're in lockdown, if they don't have headphones, it's okay. If they have just a phone, what I do is, I don't have a tissue box here, but if they can't hold their phone up, I get them to sit it like in something. So all I can see that. If they don't need to see me, I can just see them.
Okay.
I also, so they don't need to have, it's better. I mean, of course it's easier and better if they have headphones, but I'm just going to set them up for success. Hypnosis is great. And no matter what the sound is, they're going to get the hypnosis if they choose to, because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if they're listening to my voice and they're following the suggestions, they're going to go into a hypnosis. There is one thing I do suggest, guys, is please set yourself up for success. Make sure there's no dogs, cats. Make sure their phone, you know, they're not going to get a phone call through it. But also get them to set an alarm at the end. So if you go from 1 to 2, get them to set an alarm at, say, 2:05. It's happened to me once when I first started. A guy was doing FIFO, fly-in, fly-out, and he was doing 12-hour days, and he fell asleep. And I couldn't wake him up. So therefore, now I always get them to set an alarm, just in case. But yeah, if they don't, thank you. If they don't have headphones, it's fine. I just say to them, all noises around you, whether you hear a dog barking next door or your own dog, is actually going to be like a familiar sound to you. So it'll help you go into a deeper trance, a more comfortable, relaxing trance. That's what I say to my clients. So they think, oh, so if I hear something, it's going to make me go better. I'm like, yes. Another great thing, top tip to do, guys, if they're at home, get them to put a sign on their front door saying, shift worker asleep.
Good idea.
Yeah, because if they've got a post coming or something, you don't want someone buzzing on the front door. If you put shift worker asleep, no one will buzz the front doorbell.
Okay.
So just these little tips are really great. I heard that from somebody else. I can't remember who told me that, but I use that all the time. I always tell them, just put a sign up. And I use that for my front door. So when I'm taking someone through hypnosis, I have this sign that I blue tack it. I just stick it and it says shift worker asleep. And they're really, I'm not, but they're really mindful of it. I hope it helps everybody. If there's any other questions, let me know.
Just going back, because obviously there's messages that come through as we do this. Carla also said, many health insurance companies and life insurance companies have put in a COVID-19 clause. It is disgraceful, but please check all your insurance, life insurance, health insurance, and business interruption insurance policies. That's just a little cautious thing to do at the moment. So thanks again for that, Carla. I appreciate that. I'm probably wondering why I'm looking, Ned's, because your little picture's right there, so I can see on the screen. There's Robin has said, I'm looking for marketing tools desperately. Robin, if you can chat, what do you mean by that? Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that? And we can determine if we can help you today.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my picture up. I can't.
Oh, I can see it. There you are.
So I'm in New York, right above New Rochelle, actually, where the epicenter of, and hypnosis here is very woo-woo. And I had a bunch of clients in my office, but now that I'm basically online and I've basically lost most of my clients, except for 2, I'm wondering what kind of marketing tools you would use to try to get people.
That's a good question. And I guess it's a challenging one because different environments are potentially going to have different kind of responses. In terms of, it's a hard one. Does anyone have any suggestions there in terms of what they might do?
No.
Oh, yeah. So Trish's got the hand up. Sorry, can you not unmute yourself there, Trish?
Yeah, I can. I just wasn't sure if I should.
Oh, no, go for it. Yeah, no, please. If anyone wants to talk, please just chat away. It's the point of the group.
All right. So now that you have your Zoom up and running, you can do a group session just like here today, creating awareness towards what it is that you do and offer it completely for free.
That's a good call.
Okay.
Yep.
Offer it completely for free.
I know that there's often a desire to niche in particular areas, and there's the ability to perhaps create some online posts within Facebook or Facebook groups that help to rebuild an awareness around the fact that you are a specialist in that area.
Yep. Offer it completely for free, and then do a small demonstration of some sort. So tell people that you would like to offer a free mini session. You can do a relaxation session or a stress relief session, even a meditation-based session. Get people to experience it and connect with you, because people want to connect with you and they want to get to know, are you going to work for them? Can they connect with you on some way, shape or form? How is it that you relate? How did you go from your victim to your victim mode, and then they can relate to that story? So once you start doing that, at the end of that session, you can actually say, so anybody who has been in this session with me, you can now join me online as a one-on-one session for X amount of dollars or a particular discount for blah.
What do you think about, I'm going to do a meetup actually Thursday. And somebody suggested to me to do a deferment right now for a few months. So it wouldn't cost them anything now, and they would just pay it down the road.
At the end of the day, when it comes to your business, that's completely your call. For me personally, no, I would not do that, because you'll be amazed the amount of wolves that come out when money is involved. We have proven that a lot recently when it comes to this virus that's going around and people hoarding food, etc., etc. So you can always do a discount for coming into your meetup. It can be 50, 60, even 80% off if you want to. Just get them started in some way, shape or form.
Well, the meetup's going to be for free. But then from there, I'm going to mention, that's when I'm going to tell them about what I do, and hopefully I will be able to get people.
Well, this is the best way I explain it to my students, okay? So imagine that you are listening to the radio and you've heard a song. And you love that song, you've decided you don't mind this artist, and you will listen to that song for free on the radio whenever the radio plays it. But then all of a sudden you're like, I actually want to enjoy that song more often. So you'll go and buy the single. And once you enjoy that single will have a couple of other songs on it from the album, and you go, I'm actually enjoying this. So then you go and buy the album. And then all of a sudden you're going to their show, and now you're buying their t-shirts and you're buying all of the stuff that they want. Start off with something that's free, that leads into a small purchase, that leads into a medium purchase, which leads into the big purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's
I often talk about that, is the metaphor of, going to the supermarket and someone offers you a bite of a cookie. Try this cookie, and you end up having that, and you walk around the supermarket thinking, geez, that cookie was really good. Man, I need to go and buy a pack of that cookie. And you end up, and that's probably why I need to manage my weight more. However, it is that thing, is that you give a little bit of a taster, or a little bit of a sampler, and hopefully people kind of go, that was great. Keep in mind that as a hypnotherapist, our voice is our tool of the trade. And some people really resonate with someone's voice over someone else's. It's who you are that you bring to the session is what people are investing in and wanting to get. So it's all about putting yourself out there so people can get you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Carolyn has sent a message. What do you mean terms and conditions? Do you mean the information on your consent form? Maybe because that's a little bit offside of online hypnotherapy, although it's kind of not. Kind of is. How about, Carolyn, I can chat to you outside the meeting about that and just give you some examples about that. Unless anyone else has questions about that. In that case, we can bring it into the forum. No? Okay, cool. So, we're kind of getting towards the halfway mark here. We've covered a lot so far. Is there anything that someone that's joined us today has not had an answer to yet that they would really like to know more about? Is there anyone here who, unmute yourself if you wish to.
Yes, please.
I've got a question.
Yeah. So, Tanya, is that you?
Yep.
Yep.
Hi.
Hey, Tanya.
I haven't set myself up on Zoom yet, so that's actually what I'm doing this weekend. And I've taken plenty of, like received plenty of links to Zoom to then do Zooms like this, but I haven't actually sent one out yet to do one. So that's obviously my first thing that I want to do. But I've just been using my phone when I've been on these calls, as I am now. Does anyone, or has anyone done a group Zoom on their phone, or do they, because I'm obviously aware of the limitations in terms of being able to see all the participants or being able to see all the functions without touching my screen. And I can see that it would be much better to have it on a computer. But has anyone successfully just run a Zoom on their phone and been able to manage it, or is it really essential to have the computer so you can see the full screen?
Yeah, so I can see Emma. Yeah.
Sorry, Laura. Tanya, when I go overseas and I'm still running Family Freedom Protocol, I do it all on my phone. The only thing different, you can't see all like 30 members or 25 members. You might be able to see more. So you just got to swipe across.
Yeah, which is what I've been doing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I mean, it is so much easier on a PC, but don't let that stuff stop you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's kind of bullshit things that we're letting us stop us. All you need is a phone. I think the most basic thing is you need a phone.
Yeah.
And you need data. That's pretty much all you need to help somebody out and help yourself.
I think the answer is also all you need is what you feel most comfortable with. So if I was to sit down and try to do it on the phone right now, I would shat myself. It would not be a good experience. However, you know, sitting in front of a computer with a green screen behind me and all that, I feel more comfortable here. So I think it really is about where you feel most comfortable, because you don't want to be having a whole lot of thoughts about, am I doing this right or is it going wrong? You just want to be present in the moment and talking to people and focusing on what it is you want to talk about.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Were there other questions as well?
Can I say something else? Guys, you know what a really good thing to do is practice on each other. Just say, hey, have you got 10 minutes? Let's pretend, and practice it before you see a client. So you mess it up with each other rather than the client. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't know unless you have a go. You just got to rip that Band-Aid off and have a go. So, you know, even if you just private message each other and go, hey, can we just practice having a Zoom call and pretend? I would just try and do that.
And keep in mind, you know, we're all here initially because of the Melbourne Hypnotherapists group on Facebook. You can always ask people within that group, is there anyone here who wants to do a bit of a practice? Or swapsies. Swapsies are always good amongst therapists. Let's do swapsies.
Can I just chime in if it's okay on that?
Sure.
I just mentioned this last night on another group chat. At the moment in Australia, at least, and I'm here displaced from Hong Kong at the moment. So what I have found though, this is the perfect time for anyone who's trying to get online or work out Zoom or work out FaceTime or work out how to update their webs. We have got an untapped resource. There are so many teenagers and kids stuck at home at the moment. I've got 4 of my own. I call them my personal tech team. I basically tell them what to do and they are working for me. My husband and I run 5 different businesses, and I tell you, they'd be nothing if it wasn't for my tech team, my kids. So really take advantage at the moment. There's kids in isolation. There's kids not going to school. They can get their way around a web and around hashtags and anything. You know, I've got one of mine who just does all my Instagram stuff. I wouldn't even know how to log on, but she's got it thriving for me. So it's just a little top tip. They're all out there. They're pretty cheap and they're really great. And Trish mentioned EB Games before. Like, they know EB Games like the back of their hand. They know what you need and how to do it. They're making YouTube clips. So, you know, use them. They're an untapped resource and they're hanging around and they really enjoy helping.
Mm. And what I'll do also, as part of my Recording for Hypnotherapists online course, there's a part of a module is all about Zoom. So I might edit that out and put that online for people to watch if they want as well, which shows how to set up the account and how to set up so you can run groups as well. So that might be beneficial too. So I'll do that after this call as well. Julia, did you have a question before?
Yeah, look, I'm just wondering what people have done with next door neighbour yappy dogs. I've spoken, well, anyway, it doesn't matter about what I've said to them, but have people successfully, I'm petrified that if I do this online and Pepper goes bunter next door, thank you, what I can say to my clients to get them to not react to the dog.
I will pass to Trish, but my general answer to that would be to yell abuse at the dog next door. But mute the microphone first. But no, Trish, you had your hand up there. Sorry, did you want to respond to that?
A very, very simple solution to that. So Geraldine Horan is actually in on this conversation. She is one of the students that is on my modern mentoring, and she has an elevator that goes up and down the sides of the walls of her clinic.
Oh no.
And she simply says, all sounds around you will not bother you. They're just people going about their day, and it's none of your business.
Mind you, that's awesome for a deepener, isn't it? Imagine you're in an elevator going down. No.
Yep. So that's all you need to do. Put it in your pre-talk. Put it in your deepener. All sounds all sounds that are around you are people going about their day, and it's none of your business. Now is the time to go inside and focus on yourself. Be present. Be present in this moment. Go deeper and deeper, and relax deeper now.
You know, I'm so glad you're saying that, because isn't that exactly the same thing that we do in our offices? If you have especially if you're an office in a busy city or something else, we just need to do what we've always done. And yep, it's going to happen a little bit differently, but it simply is that. You know, there's another thing that I think needs to, because I'm gonna have to be out here in a minute, but I want to see if this topic comes up. I'm very, very lucky. Since I switched to Zoom, I don't lose calls. I simply don't drop calls. It doesn't happen. I mean, every once when I meet a client for the first time, I always do it like a free initial meeting. Some people think that that's not cost effective, and it's like, that's fine. It works for me. and I require that free initial meeting be on Zoom if we're going to be working on Zoom.
I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we can determine right away if the connection is good or not, and if they're in some bunker in Montana, I guess that might have more American meaning, but whatever it is, and they don't have a valid internet connection, why would you want to offer them services that really we're not going to be able to be given successfully anyway? In those cases, so if you can sort that out in advance, that's great. But once in a while, something's going to happen, and you could drop a call.
And decide sorry.
Well, so along with the caveats that you were giving about sounds outside, the other thing that I always mention on the call, and I've made arrangements with my clients, I tell this to them consciously, and I also include it in my induction, is I want them to have their cell phone handy. I want them to have their cell phone turned off, because I don't want them getting calls during the session, right? But because their cell phone is turned off, by the way, if we lose connection, I'm not going to be able to call them. So if we need to connect somehow off of Zoom in order to get completion or whatever it is, so I tell them that if you don't hear the sound of my voice for a period of 2 minutes, you can realize that we have lost connection, and you'll return to the room awake, alert, and refresh. I mean, just set it up in the things that you're saying, and then give me a call. So they'll turn on their phone and they will call me, and I'll either tell them, try to log back in. In fact, usually I tell them to try to log in first, and if not, then to call me. But set it up in your suggestions, set it up in your pre-talk, and you'll be okay.
And a side note on that as well. So for me personally, and this may seem a little bit selfish, but at the end of the day, the free consult is about me. It really is, because you do get those clients that are just not going to be committed. It's as simple as that. You cannot possibly get along with 100% of people. And you got into this career to help people. So you really want to be working with those people that you resonate with. So the free consult for me is about me. Can I actually help these people with the resources that I have? Or do I need to refer them on to one of my students that would be more appropriate for them, because they speak that language for that person better than what I do?
I think also sorry, Michael, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, I love her for saying that, because I'm just a couple of years south of 70. I am at a place where I choose how I'm going to spend my time. And so when we do these initial consultations, they think it's, let's have a talk so that we can see how we might proceed. Right. And we're having our talk. But if I decide that this is not somebody I want to spend any time with, I will lose rapport with them.
And life is
and then at the end of the call, then I'll tell them, look, I'd like you to think about what we've talked about, and if you decide that you really want to see me again, then then go ahead and give me a call, or or whatever. But I will have lost just enough rapport with them that they're going to try some other options first.
Yeah.
I suppose the benefit also is that if you're doing a free consult online via Zoom, you're getting an opportunity to assess what their connection is going to be like on their side as well, and if there's going to be potential problems there as well.
Yeah.
Lawrence, can I share something too on that?
Sure.
So I used to do free consults, and what I then have now changed to is I'll still obviously spend 5 minutes when someone wants to connect with me on the phone to make a time with them. But instead of making it an extended free consult of 20 minutes or half an hour, whatever people do, I've separated my first initial consultation from any group booking not group booking, any what am I trying to say, program that I then would obviously on sell. And what I use that first session for is I use that for doing all that Q&A, doing that whole client history and establishing the rapport and everything else that I want in that first session at a price that people know that they've also got the out, I've got the out. It doesn't make them feel overly committed at the start to a massive big program fee. And I found that actually helped me when people would ask that good old question about how much, and for some people they would jump in because they were ready, and for other people they would balk because of how much it seemed as an upfront outlay, even on a program or a part payment plan. But when I just broke that first session off, I was still then getting paid for my time in that initial consult, and I would frame it as it's an opportunity for you to see if I'm right for you, if you're right for me, and if I can actually help you with what it is that you need, or do I need to refer you to someone else? So it kind of was all of that I can find into my first session. So when they would then 9 times out of 10, hopefully it would all go to plan, I could then from session 2 start therapy straight away. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, that's because I muted myself. It's because I had a siren going past and then I completely forgot. So Julia, has that answered your question?
Yeah.
I've heard utilization there of the sounds, which Sarah wisely pointed out there. I've got a mute button, which I've just displayed quite indirectly. And yeah, there's a few things there. So does anyone else have other questions at all that they feel they'd like to get specifically answered?
Yes, please.
Yep.
I'm just wondering about payment. What's the best method to get payment?
That's a good question. I know that for Acuity, which I use as a scheduling system, it can take payment online. How else do other people do that?
Square.
It's all Acuity for me.
Yeah. You could set up PayPal as well. There's a PayPal account.
Yeah. Hey guys, what I do is this. They do PayPal or straight to my account, but if they do payment plans, I use Easy Debit.
Mm-hmm.
EZIDEBIT. By the way, I learned all of this from Trish Palmer. So
I'm a tech head. We all know I'm a nerd.
I'm not.
A nerd.
She's a nerd. We all need a nerd in our lives. I've got 2, Jack, my son, and Trish Palmer. But I use Easy Debit. It's a no-brainer. Thanks, darling. And I just, for people overseas, I give them a PayPal invoice and they can send it straight into my PayPal. It's really easy. And, from America and all that sort of stuff. Or I can just send my my bank details and they deposit the money in there.
Sure. If I can add a couple choices, the PayPal invoice is great, except that I use a PayPal Me. Do you all know about PayPal Me links? This is really cool. So when I've scheduled an appointment with a client, I'm going to send them an email that says, here's the appointment, here's the link for it, and I'm also going to send a PayPal Me link that they can use to pay me, and I'm going to say to them in the email, I will say, use this PayPal Me link to to submit your fee and to confirm your appointment. And so if you look in the chat room, I just put the link there that I use. And by the way, if you don't enter a credit card number, it's not going to take any money from you. But if you'll just click on it, you'll see what you get from a PayPal Me link. It's a really nice thing. It's a little graphic with my picture, and it says what the amount is, and it's just really easy for clients to use. So and you can include that link in the email just as easily or anywhere else. So I think it's very handy.
Steve Webb said FPOS and 50% deposit. I guess everyone's going to have different things that works for them, Jackie. So I guess it's really just about trying out a few different things. I know for Acuity as well that you can set it up so that they can't confirm the appointment without making a payment. So there's definitely those options. And just coming back to Trish there as well, if you look in the PDF, towards the back there's information about a short online course about setting up online that Trish is offering for only $10.
Yes, I just put the link in the chat if anybody wants to chat on it. Normally, I only offer that inside my mentoring, but because we need more healers online, I've thrown it out there for just $10 to help you guys, okay? Because we need more people online helping out. I'm actually in a community on a channel, and I have over 10,000 members inside that community. And Emma, you'll know this community because Jack will know it, and it's called Twitch, and it's for online gamers. So, and that's just that's just a small modality. So I threw it out there for $10 to help you guys get online, because people like myself and other people in the community that are doing this, have been doing this for a few years, we cannot keep up. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we need you guys to jump online to help heal this world. There's going to be a lot of repercussions from this in the future with anxiety and depression as well. So jump onto it, okay, guys? It's only $10.
Or if you're in the US, about $4. Since our dollar is so awful at the moment.
Yes, even less. And share it around, because I'm only offering it for a short amount of time as well, because normally I only offer it to my students in my mentoring. Okay, so share it around.
Apparently people are having trouble with that link, Trish. So,
yes,
so if the link doesn't work, it is in a PDF. And obviously these groups are not necessarily about selling courses, but for the people that do volunteer their time to come in and offer their expertise, I feel that's a fair exchange, be able to let people know what kind of services they offer. Does anyone else have any other questions at the moment relating to anything we've discussed so far, or something that you feel is a burning question that you would like to know before we move into anything else?
I just have a burning statement that I need to make because I have to go. So I just want to thank everybody for letting me visit with you tonight, and well done, Lawrence.
It's been such an honor to have you here, Michael. Thank you so much for given how busy you've been over the past few days, literally transferring conferences and everything, to dedicate some time with us is just brilliant. Thank you.
You're really welcome. It was great. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.
So in terms of, I guess at a confidence level right now, out of 10, how confident do you all feel in your ability to be able to do an online session with a client right now? And if it's not high, what is it that's missing for you that you feel you need to know in order to be able to get it higher?
I know I've done it, but my problem again is because of where I live, is honestly getting the clientele. That is my biggest problem.
So yours is more definitely around that whole marketing, and I guess like many of us, we have a double whammy at the moment. We have moving to online, and with the sudden mass amount of unemployment, I think people are minding their budgets more so than ever at the moment.
Right.
So
that's why too. Nobody's going to start. I think it's going to be hard, especially where I am, for people to want to start something if they don't really know me.
I think this is a great time. I've seen a lot of people start up, find confidence, reduce anxiety kind of groups that go over 5-6 weeks online. Maybe if you reduce the price on that to offer this service and then do more group kind of sessions, that could be a way around that. It means that you're getting smaller amount in that small amount per person, but if you get enough people, it's still the same amount of time you do individually anyway. So
what would you suggest be a price if it was going to be a group?
I don't know, because I don't know what, in terms of, you're in New York at the moment, so I don't know what kind of price would be expected there. We may have a guest appearance from my cat in a moment, so I apologise now in advance. You right there, Sambuca? Rightio. Yeah. This is probably something we don't want to happen during a client session. I'm not quite sure of the answer to that, Robin. Does anyone else have any ideas on that?
Well, my one on Thursday, it's called Be Your Best Self. Just because I'm right near the epicenter, literally we're the town next to it in New York. So I just did like a spontaneous thing last week for like 3 minutes. I ended up getting a lot of people it was before anybody was thinking about how what anxiety does to your immune system. Nobody was even thinking about that. People were just panicking about the virus, but nobody was realizing that anxiety causes that you lower your immune system by being stressed. So that's what I'm trying to get out. And now it kind of, everybody's doing that.
I would start off by making a few videos where you're not necessarily selling anything. You're just offering a discussion around it or a thought around it. This is, creating engagement and conversation with people. Starting videos where you're talking about what the problem is and having people go, yes, that's me, is definitely, I guess, a starting point, and then leading that from there into offering the groups from there.
Yeah, that's a great, thank you.
But I'm not an expert in this. I'm just offering what my thoughts are. Yeah. Okay, someone asked about what is Acuity, and I've sent that link around. Acuity is simply an online scheduling tool. So basically, I've set up an account with it. It's a paid membership, and basically it means that people can go to my website and see what times I'm available, book a session with me via that website. You can set up multiple price points. You can do an intake form. You can make sure your terms and conditions are sent as well. So it can take payment. You can even enter in some notes against it as well. So it's a good tool to have a look at.
Oh, Lawrence?
Yes.
Janie here. I just wanted to ask, I was wanting to ask Trish, just if she could give us, I'm just starting up, I've got a mobile phone and a laptop. I'd just like to know a couple of brands and types of buy, and little things like any other sort of things that, cheapish things that we could just order online through EB Games and like to order right now to get set up.
Just like it was stated before, you can just use your phone and you can absolutely use the webcam that's on your computer. At the end of the day,
What about like AirPods? Are they?
Oh, AirPods. The only reason why I don't recommend that people go wireless is because you've really got to be a tech head like me in order to make those systems work fluently and properly. So my laptop alone was about $8,000, and it works beautifully with wireless. I mean, I've got the whole works, the mouse, the headset. I mean, you can't see my wireless headset because it's inside my ears. So,
oh, wow. Yeah.
You actually need those really, really good systems in order to use that stuff. So I don't recommend going wireless because of that reason. Most people will spend approximately about $1,500 to $2,000 on a laptop or a phone device of some sort, and they just don't have that connectivity for the internet and the Bluetoothing. It just doesn't have that strength. And, hey, I could go on for ages about, Bluetooth 4.0 and blah, 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 but it's just going to be boring you. So I recommend when I'm doing my online sessions, I actually use just my crappy headphones that I got with my Apple phone, because when it comes to you hearing the session, that's just you. That's not your client.
Yep.
Okay, because people go, oh, I must invest in really good headphones. Well, that's for you. Your client can't hear what's going on.
Oh, yeah, so the speaker.
Yeah, that's just for you as the speaker. So your client's probably just going to be using the audio headphones that they've got from their phone. If they do have something better, which is known as a Plantronic, you can get them from EB Games. They range from about $120 to $250. If they do have Plantronics, then they are absolutely amazing for submersion. And guess what? If they don't have them, tell them to ask their kids, because the kids probably have them because it's an online gaming headset.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
The main reason why I recommend that the speaker has the Plantronic headphones is because it has an absolutely amazing microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And the microphone, the best one that you're better off getting is the one that actually sits across your mouth. And the reason for that is because when you have your headphones on, your headphones actually scrape against the collar of your clothes, your earrings.
Right. Yeah.
Ears, and you can actually get that scratching sensation going across the audio.
Yep.
So
okay, so a Plantronic microphone headset thing.
Yes, yeah, and you get them from EB Games. And you can get them for about $120. They are freaking amazing.
Okay,
just plug them into your headphone jack and off they'll go.
Yeah, cool, thanks.
Okay, you can get a lot of cheaper ones from like Big W and Kmart and all that sort of stuff. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's all about submersion, and that's what this microphone does. Like I said, nobody knows tech like us gamers. Yeah. And that's why when your kids are playing games or people are playing games, it's just a hypnotic state. That's what it is. The world doesn't exist. Time distortion occurs.
Yeah.
They sit there for 6 or 7 hours. They're starving. They're hungry. They need to pee, but they have completely submerged themselves into this world because they have the ears, they have the audio, and they have all the visual going on.
Okay, I've got a 16-year-old son, so I'll see if he's got one already.
Yeah, he probably already got one, okay? And if he doesn't, we'll tell you all about it, okay?
Yeah,
right
cool,
off as business expense, okay? You can buy it now for your business and then let your son use it.
Sonia's just shared the link as well, by the looks of it, in the chat there.
Oh, thank you, Sonia.
Yeah. So let's imagine now that it's a start to finish process of working with a client. So your client's going to make a booking. You may or may not use an online booking system. You want to get payment before the session, I imagine, nowadays, just be on the safer side. What I'd probably recommend also is for a lot of you, let's be honest, I tend to find that a lot of therapists out there can be quite technophobic and have a slight fear of technology. And for some of you, even getting to this meeting today might have been a little bit kind of, am I going to be able to do this right? I would suggest perhaps even creating instructions that you can send to your client or as part of the response that you have that just explains that you use Zoom and what to expect when they come in. So that's a little easier. Trish, I can see your hand up. So you go for it.
Can I give you the best tech advice that you're ever going to receive in your whole and entire life?
Is it turn the computer off?
No.
Oh, okay.
So put your hand up if you want to hear the best tech advice you're ever going to get. Are you ready for it? Because I swear, read the fucking instructions. Okay? It's all there on the screen. Step 1, click here. Step 2, click here. That's the best tech advice you're going to get. Press the buttons. Read what's on the screen and go through that introduction. It's like, would you like to go through the introduction or do you want to skip? Go through the introduction. Take those 2 minutes and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, wow, this is easy.
It is interesting. I always, talk in my own course about how, my mother used to always say to me that she was afraid she would break the internet. And I would say to her, Mum, the internet's more likely to break you than you break the internet. But there is almost this fear that, if I press the wrong button on Zoom, I'm accidentally going to set off some sort of nuclear war or something like that. And it's never as bad as that. But I think also to help clients who might also be a little bit technophobic. And I think this is the thing, actually, this is a good topic. I've seen a lot of people posting online lately saying, all their clients have dropped off and none of them want to do online. I would say that's an education issue. I would say that as a therapist, it's your responsibility to talk to them about how easy this session can be and how beneficial this session can be, and not just accept I don't want to do online because it's not something I'm used to excuse. I've seen it a lot though online recently. I don't know if you guys have in forums as well. People going, "Oh, my clients have dropped off. They don't want to do online." Don't give them an option. Just simply tell them, "I'm moving things online because it's going to be the safer option right now.
Exactly.
I'm going to be sending you this link. I'll meet you at this time." Go for it, Carla.
I just wanted to say, regarding that, again, because I've come from Hong Kong and now in Melbourne, and I've sort of seen it all unfolding, and I went through SARS back in 2003. One of the things that happens with this is people are uncertain. I mean, because we're all uncertain. And so when a client are a little bit iffy about whether they should go online or whether it's going to be the same or whether they're going to get the same benefit, I think you have to sort of hold your nerve and be certain, because you do know it's going to work and you do know that you can do this. So that is a certainty. So hang on to the certainties so that you can almost guide them. I mean, at the moment, everybody is turning on the news to try and hear from the leaders as to what we're meant to be doing. You know, everyone is looking for certainty. So I think that can be a real bonus rather than, you know, how am I going to do this? You do know that you've got your skills. You do know that you've got your craft. You do know what you have to do. And so be almost a beacon in the uncertainty. You know, you're certain that you can do this. It's just changing your skill set to do it a different way. And it's the way we are going to go.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, coming from Hong Kong back in the beginning of January, stuck here now, you know, still with no future of when I will be going back to Hong Kong. And got a daughter over from the UK that I had to get out from boarding school. It's been pretty uncertain for me. So personally, I've hung on to the things I'm certain about in these uncertain times. And that's what I'm doing for my clients, and being that beacon of certainty and hanging on to what you know you do is, I think, a way of sort of leading them to it.
I can see two hands up. I'll go to Trish first and then to lovely Jamina after that.
So just on a side note as well, did anybody here have trouble with the timing of this Zoom link for the group session? Because you're in a different state or something like that. You will notice through Acuity scheduling, if appointment was created instead and then the integration to Zoom, it will automatically change that Zoom link into the individual person's time frame.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
I'm going to teach you, darling. I was going to message you last night. I'm like, I don't want to confuse you because you've made this awesome email. So what you do is inside Acuity is you make an appointment and you have it as a group class at your time. Then you integrate it with Zoom. And as you integrate it with Zoom, Zoom will automatically create links for everybody in their individual time frame. So there's no confusion whatsoever. And everybody can jump online all together when they're meant to. Okay.
Great. Awesome. Jamina, lovely to see you from WA.
Hi. Yes. So in fact, what you just said, Trish, is true, because I was up at 6:30 this morning to join in with you guys.
Oh, thank you.
And great to be here. Thanks for letting me hang out with you guys. This week, a lot has changed in terms of how I run my business, but also I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher at an international language school. So this week we went online completely. We closed the doors of the school. 350 students, 35 teachers, all suddenly had to become really tech savvy. And we didn't have as much anxiety around that as I expected, but there was some anxiety. And what we found that after a bit of training, just getting into the first session was where people were really stressed, and then they came out 2 hours later going, my God, that was amazing. And just in terms of the clients I've seen, I've been speaking to people in Victoria, in Queensland as well. And the session I had in Queensland, Zoom froze halfway through the session. That was an interesting experience. And all I did was pick up my phone and get back into the link through my phone, and it was fine. I loved Emma's idea to have the client set an alarm. I think that would make both parties feel more comfortable. But what I can just say is if we can transform a school in 3 days, nearly 400 people, to become tech savvy enough to be able to run, everything's being run through Zoom and Moodle. And everybody is loving it, to the point where we think, well, when this is all over, how are we going to get the students back in the classroom, because they prefer it. So if anyone here is still sort of thinking, I'm not sure I can do it, the advice earlier about just get on and do a swapsy with someone. I'm happy to do a swapsy with anyone, and just have the experience for 10 or 15 minutes, just so that you can start to tap into those resources that you already have. And you know, that what I keep telling my students and teachers, humans are incredible learning machines. We can adapt and learn amazingly, and that also sets people up for success. So I hope that hearing a story about 400 people in a school going online very quickly and being hugely successful helps inspire you to do the same.
Well, Trish, I can see your hand up. You can't just talk whenever.
No, I don't want to interrupt Jamina, that's
Cool.
all, because, you know, she had something absolutely important to say.
Yeah.
So on a side note also, anybody who jumps into that $10 course, there's a quick key sheet as well that you can get as a PDF inside that course. So, you know, when I very first started out, my very first session, this is probably about 4 years ago now, you can actually set up Zoom, so people can't join the session after an X amount of time. So if you've got a group session and you're doing hypnosis, you perhaps don't want them to join, you know, after you've started your hypnosis regime. So I actually shut my link off automatically after 10 minutes. And the reason why I did this was from experience, because guess what? Failure is an amazing teacher. I love her so much. Success is a shitty one. She really is. So the reason why I failed was because in my very, very first session, I didn't have a quick key sheet. So I knew how to turn off cameras and microphones, all with just hitting some keys on my keyboard. And what happened was a lady joined in about the 25-minute mark. I just started the heap hypnosis and the deepness stage. I had over 150 people in the session. And she dropped her phone, said, "Ah, fuck." And as her phone landed on the floor upright, she was completely naked.
Oh my God.
Okay, and trust me, that is not the vagina I ever want to see again. So, yes, and the worst part is that she's actually a lady that lives around the corner here, so I've seen more of her than I've ever kind of wanted to. So at the end of the day, you know, just learn from all of this, and remember that when a mistake does occur, to laugh, because when you laugh about it, people enjoy the sensation, and you can actually drop them back into trance much, much easier, because they're in that good and happy state. Okay, so jump onto that quick key list inside that course as well, because it's going to teach you how to quickly turn off everybody's camera, everybody's microphone, how to bring them all back, because you know what, sometimes shit happens. Okay.
I'm conscientious of time. There's 2 more topics I'd like to touch on. In people's experience here, what inductions work better online? Now, obviously, there's, I think within the PDF I sent out, there's a video of Jason Lynette, who is doing the element induction transfer for online. Emma, I can see you waving your hands like you just don't care.
Sorry, guys. I've got to go. But the
No
one
problem.
that I use is the one that I was given from Shane Fozzard. So Trish knows it. She'll probably show it to you. There's a heap of them. But I've got to go, guys. It's my birthday. I've got to go celebrate with my family. I love you all.
Thank you.
Can I just let you know, you can't stuff this up unless you believe you will. All right? So stop believing it. Start believing you got your shit. It's awesome. You're all freaking amazing. Okay? Start believing in yourselves. I promise you. Fake it till you make it, guys. Mwah.
Happy birthday.
Best profession. See you
Bye.
guys.
Happy birthday.
Bye.
Bye.
And I know Emma's just gone, but if anyone's interested, she does have her timeline delete and family freedom protocols online, which she does for all her online clients. So that we'll get to afterwards. Anyway, and I know a few people here have gone through Emma's work before, and she's got a high regard there for that. In terms of inductions, getting back to that, is there ones that people feel they might be more comfortable using than others?
I love using Elman with eye catalepsy because you can see it and people feel that they can work with, you know, that online. I also love using colour and asking people what colours they connect with that help them to release and to relax as they might do, you know, a body scan or something of that nature. So I sort of combine a couple of those different things so that the person's actually in charge of what they need, and then I can bring that in.
Yeah. What else do other people use? Thanks for that, Tanya. What else do other people use?
Yes sets.
Yes sets, yep.
Which is great for utilising outside sounds as well. I did my training in a centre that was right next to a train station.
Right.
So, you know,
so you could
as
hear the trains easily.
goes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So as you sit in your chair, you can hear those trains.
That's right.
And you can
And
relax.
as trains comes and goes, thoughts comes and go. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Any others that people find popular to use online, or that they're curious to know if it might translate online?
I actually use an audio anchoring. It is a Tibetan bell.
That's nice.
You get them off Etsy. And I use a lot of audio anchoring because, you know, we can't touch our clients.
Yep.
When I do anchoring as well, I just instruct my client to touch themselves. So I'll actually say to them, as you relax more, place your hand on your shoulder. As you relax more, place your hand on your shoulder. Give yourself a hug. That's another anchor. I do a Japanese hypnosis technique called Shinpei. And that's where I actually teach people to anchor themselves online, and I just give them the instruction to hold on to their finger. So you can use audio anchors, or you can get your client to anchor themselves. We're constantly anchoring ourselves anyway, whether we're scratching our chin because we're thinking or something along those lines. So you can still use your anchoring, but just instruct your client to do it. And if you can see your client whilst they're on the camera, that's when you can also go, and as you touch your shoulder, you know the hypnosis is working. You're getting the results that you desire. Put in all those suggestions. So yeah, so I use a lot of audio anchoring with my...
Yes. The bell is very, very namaste, or in this instance, namaste in.
Yes. Can I say something about the anchoring? With the holding the thumb, it's actually a martial arts thing to help you with worry. If you hold it up like that, so I guess it would do two things at once.
Yes.
And I think fear is the forefinger. You can hold that and help you fear. That one's worry. You just hold it until it starts throbbing, and that can release all the worries and fears and whatever. So I guess that they're good anchors to use.
They're amazing anchors. I teach the Shinpei in my gut-directed hypnosis certification, and it's also something I use a lot with cancer patients as well, because they have a lot of external worries because they don't know what's going on, and they're in an environment that they're basically being told, you're probably going to die. So it's a horrible place to be in.
Right. What about in terms of techniques that you might use online? You know, obviously some techniques are going to be perceived as being better one-on-one. What do you feel you might be comfortable as a therapist to use as a technique for your clients? Oh, there's a silence and a tumbleweed. Actually, I wish there was a tumbleweed thing that can just roll through the thing. That would be...
I can teach you how to do that.
As the host, I could... Okay. Oh, I just exploded with excitement then. Oh my God, that would be awesome. Okay.
It's called a visual overlay. Okay.
Right.
So when I get subscribers on my channel, I've got these little sparkles that go off and go, thank you.
It'd be great if when I told a joke, I could just insert my own tumbleweed to go across the screen. That would be,
you can set up all
that would be amazing. Okay.
Anyway, back to the nerdies.
back to the actual techniques, because obviously, you know, things like, for instance, if you're doing ideomotor work, for instance, how would you approach ideomotor work online would be a good question.
So I don't want to jump in and overlay people's questions too much. I'm very experienced at this, so if you feel you want to input them, please absolutely do. I don't want to take over the conversation. I use all techniques myself, even mapping across. So when I'm doing mapping, I actually get the whiteboard out that is available on Zoom, and then I draw a grid on the whiteboard, and I ask the client to tell me where is the problem, and I scribble in that little square on the grid on the whiteboard, and then I ask them to tell me where is the positive thing, and then we merge the two in together visually whilst on that grid. And whilst they're doing that, I'll also ask them to place their hands above them and to choose a negative side. So the negative side is the problem. So I'm addicted to Diet Coke, and this is the problem. So I get them to hold that as hard as they can and be as negative as possible. And then I get them to hold their right hand and pull that in as positive as they possibly can, and then bring the two together, and we'll do a little bit of a break state shock technique. Hello, kitty! Break state, break state. And then I do a little bit of a break state shock technique. When I'm doing the mapping across, I say to them, focus on the board, bring your hands together, bring your hands together. You will find that this problem is slowly going away. This problem is going away, it's going away. And that positivity can take over that negative side, and then you can break the state. So you can do mapping across online without them even being under with the whiteboard. So you put it into a grid. Where's the problem? Where's the good side? Slowly bring it together with their hands, and then the good will overtake the bad. So you can do that for your fears and phobias as well.
Fantastic. I have a question.
Sure, Jen.
What technique shouldn't you use?
I don't think I personally believe that almost any technique can be brought across to online. Yeah. So I don't believe there's any that shouldn't be used.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as long as you know potentially how to handle an app reaction online, or how to handle, as we've discussed before, if the internet connection should suddenly cut for whatever reason, or there's a technical problem that disconnects you, provided you've got them under control, then really it's all about how can you be creative and innovative with the techniques that exist and to be able to offer the same experience online.
Yeah, I think, I think what I'm going to try, because I haven't done one yet, I'm going to practice tomorrow with a colleague, but I'm going to do what I've always done face to face, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to assume no. But also the other thing I was going to ask about is, like, if someone's lying on their bed where they're comfortable, do you recommend not lying on their bed because they might fall asleep?
I always set up my clients.
In a check. Sorry?
I always have my clients sitting upright, because if they do fall asleep, the first thing you're going to do is save yourself. You do this. So you will always save yourself. I do not want my client going into the delta wave. I need to keep them in the theta wave.
Okay, not lying down.
Check in with your client as well. So don't be afraid to do an open eye check-in. So that's where your client will be under, and you can say to them, now in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. I want you to keep yourself in hypnosis. Keep yourself in hypnosis. Now open your eyes. Keeping yourself in hypnosis. Keeping yourself in hypnosis. Is there anywhere in the future you can see this problem bothering you? Then they'll answer. Whether the answer is negative or positive, you can reframe the negative. If it's positive, you drop them deeper. And close your eyes, go deeper.
Gotcha.
Check in with them. Ask them what colour is the door. Where are they? Like, check in with your client.
Okay, thanks, Trish.
No,
I think also touching on something that you said before, I know personally for me, and I'll go back to when I was studying hypnotherapy, you know, I went and did a class on parts, and I learned all the parts there was to parts. And then I left that day with an idea of how to do parts. But it wasn't until I actually started to do the work with the clients that questions or unique situations come up, because nothing's ever textbook, is it? So that's part of the point of these sessions now, to discuss these ideas, but also part of the Melbourne Hypnotherapists group is that if you come across experiences over the coming days where you go, I tried this and this happened, I'm not sure what to do moving forward, or to share, I tried this, this happened, I did this and it worked. That's going to be the value of this as well, the ongoing communication we have about this topic over the coming weeks. So I encourage you all to go to that group and share willingly, because this is how we support each other, not just in the conversations we have here, but also in the insight and the wisdom that we have in the sessions we have afterwards. Does anyone else have any more? I'm conscientious of time and the fact that we probably need to wrap this up soon. Sarah has said, please reiterate about legal and ethical and get them to check with their insurance at the end of this end of the session to be safe. Are you still online, Sarah? She may have gone for.
I'm here. I'm
there you
here.
are. Would you mind talking a little bit more about that? Would that be okay?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure everybody was safe, and please check with your insurance. And if that insurance doesn't cover you, go to another insurance company that does. Someone put on before that they went through a broker to find out what was right for them.
That was Carla, yeah.
I recently checked into all this because my insurance company took off past life regression. It's one of the things I do. So I had to find another company that's covered. So I read all the fine print of the insurance that I was going through to see what they covered. And that's when I actually saw all the clauses to do with online. So please check with your insurance company to be safe and make sure you've got that confidentiality in place. Because if you haven't got the confidentiality and know how to store your files, recording, especially online, if you're recording the session, then you need to make sure that you are safe and covered.
Yeah. And I think that I might even send a message to the AHA after this just to ask about this, and then perhaps share it with the group afterwards. But again, if we can keep that communication going within the Melbourne Hypnotherapist group, that'd be great. I can see people offering to connect and to do practices. That's Alvaro there. Jamina, thank you so much for that. And obviously, anyone that wants to practice, you can perhaps put an invite within the Facebook group as well. Carla, a broker will present several options and then you can review yearly, which is good. Also, any questions you can shoot off to a broker and they can answer, says Carla as well. So, excellent. Does anyone else have any other questions before we perhaps wrap it up for today?
Lawrence, I've got one really basic one, and I might have missed this at the very start because I was 5 minutes late, but I haven't even signed up to Zoom yet in terms of, I noticed when I got on very briefly, you can maybe send 3 people for free or something, but obviously I need bigger than that. So is there any suggestions as to what the best way to start is, given I'm going to do that today?
Yep. Okay. So with Zoom, you can have a free account that will allow you to have a meeting with someone, just one other person, for any amount of time. Once it becomes 3 people and more, I think that there is a limit then to how long the sessions can be, and they're about 40 minutes. So I have a paid account. I think it's 20 Australian dollars a month. And that will allow you to have a group like this, up to 100 people if you're planning to do group sessions. It will allow you to record. Zoom has got so many incredible features. I believe it's really worth the price to pay there. But perhaps, and also what I said at the start, Tanya, is in one of my recording modules, I've got a little bit of an introduction to Zoom. So I'll cut that out and I'll put that onto the Melbourne Hypnotherapist group as well for people to have a look at. Along with this video. This video will be a replay on there sometime today, hopefully today or tomorrow.
Cool, thanks.
Does anyone else have any other questions or insights or thoughts or anything along those lines?
I'm much more comfortable now.
Awesome. That's the intention. Hopefully people are walking away feeling like at least they've got the confidence to give this more of a try than what they had at the start.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. This has been great. Thank you for putting it all together. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jan. My pleasure.
And Trish and everybody else on here. Thank you so much.
Particular call out to a few people, to Trish for your wisdom today. And of course, Trish has her modern mentoring, which we'll send out the link for. Michael Watson in the US, I'll send around a link for his work as well, because he's just incredible, and the lovely guys you discovered.
Yeah.
Emma has her online protocols as well. Sarah, thank you for your insight there with insurances. Carla as well, thank you so much there. Jackie and Jan for being willing participants in some of this discussion. And thank you to all for investing your time this morning to just come along and join in.
Absolutely. We're all here to help. That's what we're supposed to be doing as part of a community. So, you know, add each other on Facebook, inbox questions and stuff. We're here to help. Okay. That's what the core of what we do.
Can I just add, please keep up with your supervision.
Yes.
I know the AHA are offering group supervision sessions for free to help people out. So please keep that going.
Yeah, that's very, very wise advice there. Absolutely. I know that they've sound options about deferring supervision, but if they're offering free group supervision, we need that to make sure that we're keeping ourselves in check
I'm
here
pretty
too.
sure the AHA membership is due by the 31st of March. Is that
It
right?
is due at the moment. Yes, they've sent out emails about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. It doesn't sound daunting now. Thanks, Steve.
Sorry, can I just say one quick thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's only just came across my thoughts a couple of days ago, because all my kids are doing online at the moment, and this is probably more if anyone's working with younger children or teens, and everyone's, I mean, in Hong Kong they've been doing online for weeks and weeks, but it wasn't until my daughter got over from the UK and she started her online lessons, and her school have sent out quite a strict protocol of how they're supposed to be acting on their online Zoom sessions. They're not allowed to have their name on. They're actually not allowed to have their cameras on at all. Only they can see the teacher. They're not allowed to have any of their Zooming lessons from their bedroom, even though they may have their desks in their bedroom. They are meant to be dressed appropriately and sitting at a table and not on a bed or lounging around. And I read it and I thought, well, that's pretty strict, because my other kids haven't got that from their school here in Australia. But I did think it's something that probably we should keep in the back of our minds, just as a protection thing. I just thought I'd mention it because I read it and then I was like, okay, that's something interesting to be thinking about. And I hadn't up until that time. So I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And these are things, again, as I said, over the coming weeks and months, as we move more and more online and see more and more people online, I think we're going to have experiences that make us think of these things or provoke these things. So the more that we can share these and make sure that everyone else is aware of what our insights are, the more we can all benefit from this moving forward. Excellent. Well, look, I hope everyone has a lovely day today. It's kind of ironic that we have beautiful weather in Melbourne and we can't really enjoy it. So for those of you that have a backyard, I'm jealous. But I hope everyone stays healthy, happy and well. And hopefully we'll see you all for the next practice meetup group, although today wasn't much of a practice, but hopefully it's encouraged practice outside of that. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Lawrence.
No problem.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.